Hey guys. Part 18. This is what if Naruto took care of Sasuke who turned into a baby. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start. Chapter 43, Leader. The fifth Hokage's letter from Konohagakure arrived at exactly 10 o'clock in the morning, carefully protected by a seal that would only open when the leader of the Sanada clan decided to. As soon as the letter arrived through the messenger bird, one of the men responsible for the communications tower took the message to the main house of the Sanada clan. Sanada Shigeru was sitting on a comfortable cushion in his private office, reading a report on recent attacks on the island's boats by pirates. His greenish-brown eyes darkened as he read about the deaths of the poor seamen, and felt the familiar weight of guilt and responsibility in his chest. He would have to find an effective strategy to address the problem quickly. "Shigeru-sama," a voice called behind the sliding door. "May I come in?" As leader of the Sanada clan for nearly 20 years, Shigeru had made a point of knowing all of his subordinates by name. "Come in," Mitsunari Shigeru said, his voice quiet but firm. Mitsunari entered the office and bowed before handing the letter to his leader. Seeing the Konoha symbol in the seal around the letter, Shigeru landed the report he was reading and told Mitsunari to return to his duties. When he was alone again, Shigeru landed the letter on the old desk that belonged to his family for nearly 100 years and joined his hands to make the appropriate hand seal. Kai. The letter's protective seal disappeared and the Sanada leader read the message that Tsunade had sent him. Shigeru had exchanged letters with the Hokage before and immediately started preparations to house Uzumaki Naruto and his son. Tsunade's request to let the young war hero stay in the archipelago to train had been cordially accepted. After all, Konoha was a powerful and respected ally. If the Konoha ninja hadn't intervened when Unmei was threatened all those years ago, both Shigeru's father and grandfather would have died. Therefore, the samurai leader would be eternally grateful and would gladly accept any favor asked by the prestigious ninja village. Even the request to maintain absolute secrecy that Naruto's son was an Uchiha child. By his honor as a samurai and the bonds of friendship between Unmei and Konoha, the Sanada leader vowed that the child's heritage wouldn't be disclosed to anyone, and Shigeru, as a man of integrity and respectful warrior, wouldn't question about it. Tsunade said that Naruto's wish was to become the next Hokage, like his father before him. The Sannin had written that it was thanks to Naruto's courage and determination that she had decided to accept the position, inspired by his desire to fulfill his dream and protect the village he loved. For this reason, Tsunade had decided years ago that Naruto would succeed her. However, Naruto still needed to mature a lot as a man before taking up the mantle of Hokage. The young man was still very immature and thought too much with his heart. The Godame's objective was not to only train Naruto's son, but also teach the blonde shinobi how to use his head and learn how to be a real leader and rule the village with wisdom. Naruto had the passion, love, and enthusiasm necessary to be an excellent Hokage. All he needed was to learn how to govern. Personally, Shigeru was also very curious about the famous Naruto. The samurai wasn't impressed easily, but the deeds of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki were worthy of a legend. The boy, he was barely 23 years old, had not only been able to control a monster of evil chakra that had been placed in his body at birth, but was also responsible for the Shinobi Alliance victory during the war, saving the world and uniting whole nations under a single goal: peace. Shigeru was willing to help the young hero. After all, he had become the clan's leader at the tender age of 14. He was forced to grow up and honor the responsibilities that his ancestors had left him. Unlike what happened in Konoha, the Sanada clan had always been the ruling clan of the Unmei Islands. Just like in the succession of the feudal lords, the eldest son of the current samurai leader would be his successor. As always when he thought about it, Shigeru felt a shooting pain in his chest and the beginning of what he already suspected to be a strong headache. Taking a deep breath, the samurai burned the Hokage's letter and wrote her a letter in response. After sealing the letter and asked one of his men to take it to the communications tower, Shigeru decided to retire to his room and rest. As the day was sunny and breezy, he opened the window and a gentle wind infused with the scent of the cherry trees in the garden came to his nostrils. When spring arrived, the garden was beautiful, filled with flowers and petals. Mia was the one who had planted the cherry trees and structured the garden after they were married. She used to say that it was important to wake up and look at something beautiful to start to the day. "I want you to wake up with a smile, Shigeru," she said, still dirty with mud after she planted all the plants. To Shigeru it was enough to look at her to feel like the happiest man in the world. He never loved anyone with such passion and intensity as Mia. From the first moment they laid eyes at each other, Shigeru knew he had found the person he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. When Mia became pregnant, Shigeru was awed. The couple used to walk along the beach, just the two of them, holding hands, imagining how their child would look like and deciding what to name the baby. During these trips, Shigeru's love for wife and the child they had conceived together only increased. At night, the Sanada leader would take off his mask as the clan's chief and ruler, and fell asleep smiling with his hand over his wife's belly, feeling their precious child grow and move. Mia gave birth to a healthy boy who they decided to call Hattori. The baby looked so beautiful, strong and perfect. Hattori had inherited his father's dark brown hair and his mother's gentle hazel eyes. Growing up, Hattori had shown to have inherited the best of both parents. Although he was still a small child, the boy was loyal and honest like his father, but kind and joyful as his mother. Shigeru could not be prouder of his son, and was sure he would be an excellent leader when he succeeded him. That would never happen. Lying on the bed he had shared with his wife, Shigeru covered his eyes with the back of his hand. When his breathing became regular, the samurai looked at the pictures on his dresser and nightstand, his wedding photo with Mia, 7 months pregnant, sitting under the cherry blossom trees, newborn Hattori in the arms of his mother. Several photos of Hattori throughout his childhood with and without his parents. The last photo was taken in front of the mansion, Shigeru, Mia and Hattori, who was about 5 years old, playing in the white snow. Mia and Hattori wouldn't be alive when the snow thawed. Trying to repress the painful memories, Shigeru tried not to think about anything, focusing on the sound of the trees in the garden, the wind and the occasional chirp of a bird. In the distance, he could hear the shouts of the children who were returning home from school. Shigeru heard the sound of voices on the other side of the wall, and looked out the window at the same time as a silver-haired boy entered the mansion. A few minutes later, he heard someone knocking at his door, entering without waiting for a reply. Taking a deep breath, Shigeru looked at Kiyomi, his mother, the only person in the whole clan whose behavior hadn't changed when he succeeded his father as the clan's leader. And also one of the people who troubled him the most and made him feel uneasy. "Do you wish to speak with me, Haho?" the samurai said, ready to return to work. The old lady looked at her oldest son before answering. "Riku came home," she said. "I know. I saw him come in," Shigeru said. "If you don't mind, I have to go back to work." However, his mother didn't move, continuing to stare at him with a disappointed and angry gaze. "His Kenjutsu exam was today," she continued. "Riku was the best in his class. He defeated all the other students. His teacher said he had never seen a child with so much talent with the sword." "I'm happy for him," Shigeru said, fully aware of his cold and monotonic voice. "He has access to the best education possible." Kiyomi frowned, increasingly disappointed with her son's attitude of. "The children's parents were supposed to come," the old lady said, noting that Shigeru's eyes widened almost imperceptibly. "I was not informed. Rika left the note on top of your desk last week." Shigeru scratched his nose. He hadn't seen the note, or perhaps he had seen it, but didn't pay it too much attention. The week before, he had problems with a quarrel between two samurai clans because of a nasty divorce. How could he think of attending Kenjutsu classes when there was so much to worry about? The clan needed him. "I must not have seen the note. I had many other papers on my desk. Riku should have warned me personally," Shigeru said. "When?" Kiyomi said, increasingly exasperated. "If you're not working in the office, you're not at home. You never eat with us. When do you want to talk with Riku? Did you forget that he is your son? Does he need to schedule a meeting so you can give him a few minutes of your precious time?" Shigeru snorted angrily. "Don't be ridiculous, Haho. There's no need to turn this into a drama. I have obligations to the clan. If Riku will be the future leader, he has to understand that sooner or later. Kiyomi closed her eyes and shook her head. It was useless to continue that conversation. Oh. He understands, she said, ready to leave. He said he knew you weren't going to show up. Shigeru felt his throat tight, but his face remained undisturbed before the accusing and disappointed eyes of his mother. If it had been Hattori, you'd been there in the front row, she said with ice on her voice, as Shigeru remained silent. They both knew it to be true. Kiyomi left his room and went to her grandson's, which was at the other end of the mansion, near her bedroom. As she had done with her son, she knocked on the door and entered before hearing a response. Riku was sitting at his desk, doing his homework. When he saw his grandmother coming in, he smiled at her. Hi, Obasan, the boy greeted, staring at her with his light blue eyes. Hi, Riku-chan. You're doing your homework already? You just got home. Riku nodded, pointing to the notebook where he was writing. I'm almost done, the boy said with a confident and cocky smirk. They're very easy. Even so, you should get some rest after the exam. I'm not tired. Kiyomi sat in the little boy's bed and picked up the trophy he brought home from school. We have to find a special place for this trophy. Riku shrugged. He had won other awards before, and Kenjutsu was very easy. Most of his classmates didn't even know how to hold the wooden katana right, while Riku had practiced several hours after school. No one was a challenge, so the trophy didn't seem to be very important. Obviously, for his father it wasn't. Riku didn't expect his old man to show up and felt stupid for constantly looking at the front door of the dojo. Although his heart ached, he smiled with pride when the sensei handed him the trophy and everyone applauded. He didn't need Shigeru's applause. Riku had given up hope that he loved him long ago. The only son Shigeru loved was Hattori. There was no room in his heart for Riku. There never was. Oba-san? Yes? You think Ka-san would have been happy for me? Riku asked, looking at the only photograph he had taken with his mother, just moments after he was born. She would have been very proud, Kiyomi said, also looking at Rei's picture. I'm sure she is very happy. She was there with you today, cheering you on. I'm sure. Riku smiled and took the photo. His mother was sitting in a hospital bed, holding him against her chest with a radiant smile despite being very sick. His grandmother told him that her spirit would never leave him even if she had died. That thought always made him feel better. Riku was the spitting image of his mother. They both had silver hair, fair skin and light blue eyes. Riku had also inherited his mother's talent, who had been one of the strongest warriors of the islands. Even Shigeru had lost several spars against her. Ka-san also won a lot of trophies, right? Riku asked. Yes, Rei was truly an amazing warrior, Kiyomi said with a friendly smile. They called her the Ice Queen because of her hair, and because she was never afraid of anything or anyone. Your father often came home frustrated for losing against her. They were rivals, right? The boy asked. Yes. They were eternal rivals, always trying to outdo the other. Riku looked at his homework and closed the notebook. He could finish it later. Today one of the sensei said that we're gonna get a new student, the silver-haired boy said. Is it true, Oba-san? Yes. Have you heard of Kanahagakure? The old lady asked. Yeah. It's a ninja village. There are allies. Why? Is this kid from there? It seems so. He's coming with his father. But they're ninjas! Riku exclaimed, genuinely surprised. Why would ninjas come to Unmei and train with samurais? Ninjas and samurai can learn a lot from each other, Kiyomi said. Besides, we should feel honored. This boy's father is Uzumaki Naruto. Riku widened his blue eyes. Everyone had heard of the famous Naruto. People said he was one of the most powerful ninja in the world. Born in a samurai community, Riku didn't trust shinobi as a matter of principle. If it weren't for the ninjas, the samurais wouldn't have lost their glory. However, Riku was interested in meeting the legendary Naruto, and see if he was as strong as in the stories people told. So his son was gonna be his classmate? Would he be as powerful as his father? After his grandmother left the room, Riku finished his homework and went to train in his family's private dojo. He had to admit he was curious about the kid, but he didn't expect much. Still, it'll be fun beating a ninja, the boy thought with a cocky smile. Ah? What do you mean by training my brain, Ba-chan? Naruto asked, staring at the Hokage sitting in front of him. Exactly what I said. I asked the leader of the Sanada clan to teach you how to make diplomatic decisions, to choose teams for missions, plan effective strategies. In other words, I want you to train that thick head of yours. Naruto couldn't help it and pouted. But that is so boring, Ba-chan. Tsunade slammed her fist on the wooden table, which cracked ominously. Idiot! A good shinobi doesn't train only his body, the Hokage muttered. You have to train your mind to use the power you possess. How do you expect to be a good Hokage if you're not able to make the best decisions or plan? You'd ruin Konoha in a week. Naruto blinked slowly, unsure he had heard her right. Tsunade Ba-chan, you want me to be the next Hokage? Humph. You've been nagging everybody with that dream of yours for over 10 years. Do you really think we weren't taking you seriously? If you're going to take my place, I have to make sure that Konoha is in good hands. That is my responsibility in choosing a successor. Naruto could not believe his ears. Tsunade was really thinking about naming him her successor. He couldn't believe it. You won't regret it, Ba-chan, the blonde ninja said, with a huge grin. I will surpass all Hokage who came before me. You'll see. Tsunade smiled briefly before coughing and forcing herself to make a serious face. Your duty is to protect and honor the legacy of the other Hokage, she said firmly. As my successor, I expect you to be as wise and responsible as I am. I won't let you down, Ba-chan, Naruto said excitedly like a child. I'll learn to be a good leader. I'll learn what it takes to be a great Hokage. I hope so, Naruto. If you humiliate me, I'll never forgive you, Tsunade said with such a dangerous glare that Naruto took it seriously. By the way, where is Sasuke? He's studying in our cabin, Naruto said, looking at the endless blue ocean around them. He's been studying really hard lately. Tsunade nodded. It's good to know that he is taking his studies seriously. Yeah, I think so, Naruto said, rising from his chair and leaning over the railing of the ship. Since few days ago, Naruto thought something was wrong with his son. At first glance, there was nothing different. Sasuke studied his scrolls, trained the hand seals and taijutsu. It wasn't safe to train kunai or shuriken throwing inside the ship, so Naruto had told him that he had to wait until they reached the islands. The blonde supervised Sasuke's training carefully, and they practiced together every day. In the evening, the little raven looked so tired, he fell asleep almost instantly in the top bunk. However, Naruto had a feeling Sasuke was avoiding him. Frequently, the little raven asked him to let him study alone, because he said he could focus better. Naruto had been surprised and, although this was a selfish and childish feeling on his behalf, he felt a little hurt that Sasuke didn't want his company and had told him to leave. Maybe Naruto was thinking too much. Sasuke had always been an introvert and liked to have his own space. He had been like that during his first life, and it was very likely he was going to become even more of a loner as he grew. Naruto had no parents, so he couldn't speak from experience, but Shikamaru and his other comrades didn't like to always have their parents around them, controlling what they did. They said it was annoying. Is there a problem? The Hokage asked. No, the blonde replied. It's nothing. Tsunade also rose from her chair and was ready to return to Konoha. However, her ears heard the unmistakable sound of dice being thrown and excited voices shouting and betting. Before Naruto could stop her, the Godame had already entered a room full of sailors, who were enjoying their break gambling. When the men saw her and appreciated her huge cleavage, they asked her what she wanted. You boys are gambling, right? Tsunade said with a confident smile, while Naruto stared wide-eyed. Why do you ask, ma'am? Don't tell me you want to join us? Tsunade's smile grew even more and she sat at the table, placing a wad of cash over the stained wood. Count me in, she said with an overconfident grin. Unless you're afraid of losing against a woman. The sailors laughed but agreed to let her join them. Naruto, in turn, took the chance to escape before anyone could relate him with her. When Tsunade needed to flee the ship owing money to most of the crew, the blonde would not be paying her debts. Wise and responsible, my ass, Naruto thought, walking away from the sound of Tsunade's angry screams, who obviously had already begun losing. When the blonde came to his cabin, he shut the door and went to the room he shared with Sasuke. The little boy should still be studying his scrolls, so Naruto would say that was gonna sleep silently on the lower bunk while the Raven continued to read. When he opened the metal door, Naruto noticed that the round window was ajar, letting in a fresh and pleasant breeze. Sasuke was lying with his face down, surrounded by open books and scrolls. However, the Raven wasn't studying. He had fallen asleep. With a smile, Naruto picked up the books and scrolls and laid Sasuke's head on his white pillow. The blonde's eyes widened slightly when he noticed that Sasuke was studying the Katon. "You're interested, huh? Maybe you'll learn it soon," Naruto whispered. The boy's black hair waved with the cool breeze and Sasuke pressed one of his tiny hands to his cheek. He looked so serene and peaceful that Naruto could not resist and stroked his hair as he often did when he was a baby. For a while, the blonde stood up, leaning against the railing of the upper bunk, staring at Sasuke while his little chest rose and fell slowly beneath his white t-shirt. With each passing day, Sasuke became more and more like his teen self, at least physically. The Raven's voice had become lower, to the point that Naruto knew that within a few years Sasuke would have his deep voice back and, possibly, his sharp tongue. None of this bothered the blonde ninja. Instead, it was like having the best of both worlds, his best and his son, as the same person. Naruto sometimes could hardly believe his luck. Sasuke was his son. He was the best son in the world. He never imagined that he could love him so much. That's why Naruto wanted to do everything right and give his son the best life possible to compensate for all the sadness, despair, and darkness that had led him to madness in the first place. But sometimes it was so hard to know what to say and do. Like what had happened the previous day during breakfast, when Sasuke suddenly asked him if had met his parents, Mikoto and Fugaku. "Sorry, Sasuke. But I didn't know them," said the blonde, almost choking on toast he was eating. "Oh," the Raven muttered, visibly saddened. "What do you want to know about them?" "I was wondering how they were like. I've been dreaming about them." Naruto blinked. He wasn't expecting that Sasuke would have dreams about his first childhood, since those memories were so old. But on second thought, maybe it wasn't so surprising. They were precious memories. Happy memories. Obviously, Sasuke would be curious about them, but unfortunately Naruto couldn't give him any information. When looking at the sleeping boy, Naruto wondered if he was dreaming about his parents again, lost in his happy memories of them. The blonde thought about kissing the Raven's forehead, but ultimately didn't. Sasuke could wake up and get embarrassed. After all, the Raven was getting too grown up for these baby stuff and Naruto didn't want to push him away by making him feel uncomfortable in his presence. If Sasuke wanted some space, Naruto would give it to him. The blonde could only imagine that it wouldn't be nice to have a parent always breathing over his shoulder. Naruto needed Sasuke to know that he trusted him. Quietly, the blonde ninja left the bedroom and closed the door slowly. 10 minutes later, after almost tearing the front door, Tsunade entered the Naruto's cabin. "Naruto," she said with a serious and composed gaze, but sweating like crazy. "I need you to send me immediately to Konoha. I cannot stay here wasting more precious time when the village needs me." Naruto just squinted. "Ba-chan, you lost all your money in the game, didn't you?" "Nonsense. Don't be ridiculous," the Hokage said, blushing. "Hurry up and call a frog. I have to go." Before the sailors who Tsunade owed money found out she was with him, Naruto summoned a toad and the Hokage left a lot more relieved. Sasuke was in his parents' house, but everything was different. All the windows were closed, the floor and the furniture were covered in dust, the garden was overgrown with ugly weeds and the lake dried up completely. The walls of the house seemed dark and frightening, threatening to eat him alive if he stayed there longer. A house as cold and sad as a graveyard. So Sasuke got out and ran as fast as he could to get away from it, tripping over tree roots and rocks in the woods. Tired of running, he leaned against the trunk of a tree and buried his face in his arms. He was alone. all alone. There was no one else, not his brother, not his parents, not his family. Nobody. Hey! What are you doing in a place like this? A high-pitched voice said. Sasuke looked up and stared at the person in front of him, but his eyes were so filled with tears that he could only see a blur of orange and yellow. Are you okay? The boy asked, approaching. Why are you crying? Are you sad? Are you hurt? I'm not crying, Sasuke growled, noticing that his voice sounded spiteful. Beat it. The boy didn't move, continuing to observe him. Somehow, that only made Sasuke angrier. You are crying, the boy insisted, increasingly annoying Sasuke. Come on, tell me what's wrong. Maybe I can help. I don't want your damn help, Sasuke muttered violently. Go away. Leave me alone. But... get lost. The boy stopped trying to get closer, and Sasuke covered his face with his hands, wishing only that irritating guy would go away and leave him alone. Where did you run off to, Baka Naruto? A girl's voice shouted in the distance. Sasuke lifted his head slightly, with his eyes wide. Did he really hear? What do you think you're doing there in the forest, Dobe? Another voice called. A male voice that Sasuke could have sworn sounded very familiar. We have a mission to finish. Don't waste time. Oh. Okay. I'm going, the boy in front of Sasuke replied. We're leaving without you, Naruto. Hurry up. The girl cried again. Naruto? Coming. The boy yelled, looking at Sasuke one last time before running toward the voices. For a while, Sasuke couldn't move, staring at the blonde boy's back, who was dressed in orange, and running out of the woods, towards the light. It was him. Was it Naruto? Two-chan? Sasuke muttered, looking as Naruto ran further away. Wait! Don't go! With a leap, Sasuke got up and ran after him. When he finally reached Naruto, Sasuke grabbed him by the arm. OW, the blonde yelled, as Sasuke's nails dug into his skin and tore the sleeve of his coat into strips of cloth. Alarmed by what he had done, Sasuke dropped his arm and Naruto fell to the ground, moaning in pain. Naruto! The other two cried at the same time, approaching the blonde. You're bleeding, the girl said, looking at Naruto with a worried expression and then to Sasuke. And she screamed. What is that thing? It was so bright Sasuke couldn't distinguish their features. All he could see were their clothes and the contours of their bodies. We must get away from it, the other boy, dressed in blue, said. It may attack again. Attack? Sasuke thought, more and more confused. He then looked down at his hands and his mouth opened in a silent scream. His nails were as huge and sharp as claws. His skin was dark gray and his hair was much longer. With a mixture of horror and shame, Sasuke realized he was naked and the presence of two hideously deformed wings on his back. He looked like a monster. Sasuke's hands were covered with blood. As he stared at Naruto on the ground, still clinging to his bloody arm, Sasuke realized that he had been the one who hurt him. I didn't want to, Sasuke mumbled, trying to approach his father, who continued to whimper with pain in the arms of the girl dressed in red. It was an accident. I just... Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu. The fireball hit Sasuke's wings, which he unconsciously used to defend himself. Even so, the jutsu's power was so strong that he was thrown against the trunk of a tree. Sasuke felt the blood rising in his throat and spat it into the ground. His wings were horribly burned and his body was covered in bruises and scratches. Don't you dare come any closer, the young man dressed in blue said, with a cold and arrogant voice before turning to the girl and Naruto. Take care of the dobe. I can handle this. Despite the pain, Sasuke tried to get up, staring at the stuck-up boy with an angry glare. Don't call him that, Sasuke mumbled, but the boy in blue was too quick and kicked him right in the gut, which made him see stars and spit even more blood. With his vision increasingly hazy, Sasuke reached out a hand towards Naruto, trying to reach him in vain. Papa! Papa! Sasuke tried to say, but his mouth made no sound. The cocky guy and the girl in red grabbed Naruto and began to retreat, taking his dad away from Sasuke. No! Don't take him! Sasuke whispered through the cough. Come back! With his arms still extended towards Naruto, Sasuke felt tears running down his face, silently calling out to his daddy. Naruto left the cabin and went downstairs to the galley. It was still early, but the blonde was starving, so he asked the cook, a big woman who ruled her kitchen the same as a general rules his troops, for some fruit as a snack. Dinner will be served in 2 hours, the cook growled, always with her hands busy peeling an onion or washing dishes. If you eat now, you'll have no appetite later. I won't fill my stomach, Naruto reassured her. I just wanted something light to snack. My son also hasn't eaten anything since lunch. He's gotta be hungry. By mentioning Sasuke's name, the cook's eyes immediately softened. There weren't many women on board, just the cook, 2 maids and a few elderly passengers, but all of them had been captivated by the Raven boy, convinced that he lacked maternal care and filling him with treats and attention whenever they saw him. What kind of lousy father are you, boy? The cook grumbled. Honestly. Letting your own kid starve. Don't you know he's still growing up? After giving Naruto a dish with several slices of watermelon, the blonde came back to his cabin and sat in the chair of the small living room in front of the window. After eating a slice of watermelon, the blonde ninja got up and opened the bedroom door. Sasuke really had to wake up or the kid wasn't going to sleep at all at night. Sasuke, Naruto called. Time to wake up. Come eat something, sleepyhead. As he approached the bunk, Naruto blinked. Sasuke was still asleep, but he was moving restlessly in bed, his face twisted in pain and groaning occasionally. Shit! Not another nightmare, Naruto thought, shaking the child's shoulders to wake him up. Sasuke. It's okay, it's just a bad dream. Wake up. The Raven's lips trembled. His face was full of anguish. Don't leave me, Sasuke muttered, raising his hand as if looking for someone. Papa, don't go. Naruto was about to hold the boy close, but stopped. He didn't know which Papa Sasuke was calling for. What if Sasuke wasn't calling for him? What if he was calling out for Fugaku? However, the Raven continued to stretch his hand, groping the covers and calling his papa with a growing anxiety. Naruto couldn't stand it another second, so he took the child in his arms and carried him to the living room. After sitting in a comfortable chair, Naruto pressed Sasuke's body against his chest, cradling him. Maybe Sasuke wanted Fugaku to do it instead of Naruto, and maybe he would become upset and disappointed that the blonde was there instead of his Tusan, but Fugaku wasn't there anymore. He couldn't take care of Sasuke or comfort him when the Raven needed, but Naruto could. Heck, Naruto was his father too. A few minutes later, Sasuke's body stopped shaking and his moans became silent. The boy's eyelids trembled a little before they opened, and his onyx eyes stared at the orange sweater before he looked up, finding Naruto's smiling face. Hi, the blonde said, not knowing what else to say and waiting for the Raven's reaction. Sasuke stared at Naruto for a while, blinking several times. It was as if his mind was still in dreamland. His head was heavy and tired as if he had just battled. Pa? The Raven asked, focusing on Naruto's face. His father's face. Papa? With a smile, Sasuke snuggled up against Naruto's chest, circling his waist with his small arms. The blonde stroked Sasuke's black hair, playing briefly with the tiny spikes on back of his head. You had a bad dream, huh? The blonde asked. Sasuke nodded but said nothing. Obviously, he didn't want to talk about it. You know what will cheer you up? I brought fresh watermelon from the kitchen. Want to share it with me? Yeah, the boy said, grabbing a slice of watermelon that his dad had given him without leaving his lap. Maybe he was being a bit of a baby, but Sasuke really didn't care right now. He had his daddy here. No one was going to take him away. Itadakimasu, Naruto said, biting his own slice. As he ate his watermelon slice, Sasuke thought about the dream that just had. More specifically, he thought about the boy in blue who had attacked him in the dream with the katan. Sasuke had felt an immediate animosity for that guy. He didn't like his snooty expression or his I am the best one here attitude. And he had called his Tuchan dope. As if he was a lot better than him. What an asshole, the Raven thought. Sasuke knew it was only a dream, but he couldn't help but feel aggravated because of that boy. He didn't like the girl either, but his aversion was focused mainly on the boy in blue. Damn butthead bastard. If he appeared in front of him right now, Sasuke would teach him a lesson he would never forget. He would kick his sorry ass all the way to Iwagakure. It was decided. The next technique that Sasuke was going to master would be the Great Fireball technique. But his jutsu would be 10 times stronger than the one the boy in blue used. This was his new goal. Chapter 44, Sasuke's Best Friend. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu. A technique where chakra needed inside the body is converted into fire, and expelled from the mouth in a massive orb of roaring flame, or as a continuous flamethrower. The scope of the attack is altered by controlling the volume of chakra that is mustered. The released flames will engulf their target, and leave a crater on the ground's surface. After carefully reading the scroll for the 10th time, Sasuke closed it and threw it onto the bed. He knew everything he needed to know about the fire jutsu, including its hand seals in the correct order, and do it relatively quickly. He knew he had to turn his chakra into fire, extract it from his mouth to his chest and keep it there, and then, he just had to throw it out immediately. Piece of cake. I can do this, the Raven thought, remembering once more the boy in blue he had seen in his dream. The battle may not have been real, but Sasuke still couldn't forget it, or the feelings of humiliation and anger that boy had awakened him. Besides, he couldn't wait to show his Tuchan the jutsu. With a confident smile, Sasuke got off the bunk, pulled on his shoes and left the cabin. Naruto had said he was going to take a nap in the reclining chairs on deck, so it wouldn't be very difficult for the Raven to find him. The few passengers on the ship had the same idea as Naruto, and were enjoying the hot sun to tan and get some sleep outdoors. When Sasuke arrived on the deck, one of the passengers, a nice old lady with white hair, motioned him to come closer. Good morning, Sasuke-chan, the old lady said, smiling. Good morning. You came looking for your father? Sasuke nodded. Yes. Have you seen him? The Raven asked. He's lying in a chair over there, she said, pointing to the bottom of the deck. And there he was. Naruto was sleeping in a reclining chair, with his unmistakable blonde hair fluttering in the wind. There he is, Sasuke said. Thank you, Bachan. You're welcome. Are you two going to train again? Yes, replied the Raven with an enthusiastic smile. You poor thing, the old woman sighed, without noticing Sasuke's expression. You must be so bored on this ship, with no other children to play with you. You must feel very lonely. Sasuke blinked, utterly confused by the old lady's words. Huh! I'm not lonely. Tuchan is here. But it's not the same thing, right? It would be more fun if there were other children to play with you and be your friends. Tuchan is my friend too, Sasuke said. The old woman shook her head as if Sasuke didn't know what he was talking about. He is your father, honey. He can't be your friend. But don't worry, she continued. When you get to the islands you will make lots of real friends. Visibly upset and confused, Sasuke left the old lady and walked towards Naruto. What did she mean by real friends? His dad was his real friend. Of course Sasuke liked to play and talk with other children his age, and there were things he couldn't do with his Tuchan. But deep in his heart, Sasuke felt Naruto was more than just his father. Sasuke knew that the relationship that he and his dad had was different. Most kids played with their parents and loved them, but there was always a certain distance. Sasuke never felt any distance between him and Naruto, even though the blonde was much older than him, or because he was his father. When he wanted, Naruto behaved like a child and spoke to Sasuke as if they were equals. They even insulted each other like two classmates. Sasuke had never felt that he lacked something. Naruto had always been everything to him, father, brother and friend, all at the same time. And the Raven never thought it was strange or wrong. On the contrary, it felt right. Like that was the way it was supposed to be. The Raven had made friends in the many lands where they lived, but the feeling that he had for them was different. He didn't mind to make new friends, but what he felt for them wasn't as strong as what he felt when played with his father. He is your father. He can't be your friend. But Sasuke felt that Daddy was his friend. In fact, he felt that he was the person who best understood him, the person who was always there for him and with whom he could always count on and trust, either in bad times or in the good times. Was that wrong? Was it stupid that Sasuke thought his father was also his closest friend? As the raven got near Naruto, who was sleeping with his mouth half open, snoring and occasionally muttering another bowl please, Itachi-chan. With a string of drool running down his chin, Sasuke laughed. "Tu-chan. I want to train," the raven said, shaking the sleeping blonde. But Naruto pushed him away with one arm and kept sleeping. "Itachi-chan, another bowl," the blonde said with a silly grin on his face. "Sensei, you're going to pay the bill." "You're not eating ramen," Tu-chan mumbled Sasuke, shaking Naruto again. "Come on, wake up. I want you to train with me." As Naruto refused to wake up, Sasuke turned away, picked up a bottle of water and poured it relentlessly over the blonde-haired head. "What the hell?" Naruto yelled, with his hair completely soaked. Calmly, Sasuke put his empty bottle on a table and stared at Naruto with a pout. "Are you awake now?" the raven asked, with an angry look. "Sasuke! You bastard! What the hell do you think you're doing?" Naruto mumbled, getting up and wiping his wet head with a towel. "You were drooling and babbling like an idiot, Uzuratanki," Sasuke replied, crossing his arms over his purple shirt. Naruto glared at him beneath the towel. "You didn't have to wake me up like that," grumbled the older ninja. "Damn! Couldn't you have been gentler, team?" "Humph," Sasuke snorted. "I tried, but you sleep like a rock. You promised you were going to train with me, remember?" Naruto threw the wet towel onto the chair, quickly combed his hair and looked at the sulky child. "Very well," the blonde said. "If you want to train, let's go. But I warn you that now I'm in a very bad mood. Get ready, because I'll wipe the floor with you." "We'll see about that," Sasuke said, smirking. A few minutes later, Naruto and Sasuke faced each other in a makeshift ring made in the ship's deck. Both remained silent and motionless, waiting for the right moment. When a seagull squawked over their heads, Naruto attacked Sasuke with a punch. As he learned, Sasuke turned away and tried to kick Naruto's legs to trip him. However, the blonde didn't want to make things easier and blocked the attack effortlessly. Father and son's cries echoed by ship and the ocean as the spar went on. Some sailors and 3 passengers came up to see them. They had never seen a ninja fight before, not even a workout, so they were quite excited about it. Sasuke grabbed both his dad's wrists and tried to kick him in the face, but Naruto defended himself, pulling the little raven away. "This is it," Sasuke thought with a confident smile and making the hand seals. Naruto opened his blue eyes wide, not wanting to believe what he saw. Those were the hand seals of the katan. When did Sasuke learn it? Feeling the heat in his throat, Sasuke took a deep breath and blew with all his might. "Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu." Immediately, Naruto prepared to protect himself against the powerful flames, almost forgetting that it was just a workout. Sasuke opened his mouth and released the jutsu. Everything that came out was a pathetic little flame and some smoke. Sasuke and Naruto's eyes widened, both stunned by the result of the jutsu. The raven was so surprised that he lost his balance and fell on the floor with a big thud. "Itai!" Sasuke groaned. He had skinned the palms of both hands and knees on the wooden floor of the deck. After the anticipation and shock over the unsuccessful jutsu, the men who were watching burst out laughing at the fallen boy. Sasuke felt his throat and eyes burning, but stifled the tears. Unable to look his father in the eyes, the raven stood up and ran into the ship, trying to save a little of his dignity. When he reached the cabin, he entered the bathroom and slammed the door with all his might. "Kyuso!" Sasuke shouted at the white and clean walls of the bathroom. Refusing to cry like a little baby, the raven opened the tap of the sink and washed his red face, trying to ease his frustration, anger, and humiliation. Why didn't the jutsu work? He had made the hand seals and summoned the right amount of chakra. What had he done wrong? Why wasn't he able to do the stupid jutsu? Why couldn't he do anything right? Still gritting his teeth, Sasuke wiped his wet face with the towel and took the first aid kit from the closet. Grunting with pain, the boy cleaned the wounds on his knee. When his vision became blurred due to tears, he wiped them angrily with the back of the hand. He wasn't a crybaby. Naruto silently entered the cabin and knocked twice on the bathroom door. Inside, Sasuke tensed and stared at the door but said nothing, too ashamed to face him. The jutsu was supposed to be a surprise to his daddy and impress him. One way to show him that Sasuke was strong, but he ended up making a fool out of himself and looked like a complete loser. A part of Sasuke hoped that if he became strong and reliable, his father wouldn't think about his former teammates anymore or need them. Sasuke would grow up and become worthy of being Naruto's fellow shinobi. The Raven felt, deep in his heart, that this was what had to happen. They were gonna be a team and fight side by side. But that won't happen now, the boy thought, feeling his chest heavy with disappointment. I'm just too weak. No wonder he wants his old comrades instead. I'm useless and would only be in his way. Tu-chan is so strong and everyone respects him, but I... Naruto walked into the bathroom and approached the angry and humiliated child. The blonde knew that words of comfort would not be well received by the demanding Raven. Sasuke was a proud person. Hurt his pride was far more painful than breaking both legs. When the blonde came, Sasuke turned face and hid his red eyes under his fringe. However, his lower lip was trembling. Slowly, Naruto took the disinfectant from his hand and cleaned his wounds in silence. Then the blonde grabbed several clean bandages and tied them carefully around Sasuke's wounds. Can you walk? Naruto finally asked. Surprised by the sudden breaking of silence, Sasuke looked at his father before he nodded. In response, Naruto stood up from the floor and opened the bathroom door. Great, the feisty blonde said. So let's go back to the deck. We have a fight to finish. Caught by surprise, Sasuke gasped with his eyes wide. What? We're gonna train, Naruto insisted. We'll reach Amiya in the afternoon, so we have to train in the morning. Let's not waste time. But... Sasuke stood his ground. How could he go back on deck after what had happened? What's wrong? Naruto asked. You're just gonna give up because you weren't able to complete a jutsu? No. The boy replied, surprised by his dad's serious voice. So what's wrong? Sasuke looked away, his cheeks crimson with shame. He felt increasingly insignificant and pathetic. How could he even dream of reaching Naruto's level and expect him to acknowledge him as a worthy ninja? With a softer look, Naruto leaned against the door jamb. In fact, the blonde was very surprised that Sasuke had been able to learn a jutsu by himself and almost be able to master it. Naruto was very proud of his son, but Sasuke was not satisfied with the Katan's failure. He would not understand Naruto's pride. I think I shouldn't expect anything else. Like father, like son, the blonde ninja sighed. I did the same thing when I felt humiliated. Confused, the Raven looked at Naruto. Humiliated? Sasuke muttered. You. With an enigmatic smile, Naruto left the bathroom and sat in one of the chairs in the living room. Curious, Sasuke followed him and sat on the couch beside him. When I went to the academy, I was full of dreams of greatness. I was going to become the best ninja and show everyone that I was amazing, Naruto said with a smile, recalling how innocent and naive he was back then. It didn't go well at all. My ninjutsu was terrible. I couldn't remember or do the hand seals correctly. My henge was so bad that all the other students laughed at me and I wasn't able to make a single acceptable bunshin. Sasuke's black eyes widened with amazement and disbelief. Are you serious? The boy asked, shaking his head in utter disbelief when Naruto nodded. That can't be. You're so strong. And you can do thousands of clones. Unfortunately it is true. I was a failure, Naruto replied, embarrassed. Honestly, I was one of the worst students of the academy. I repeatedly failed the graduation exam. My classmates, teachers and other adults told me I would never be a ninja. Except Iruka-sensei and the Sandaime Ji-chan, no one respected me. They said I was a hopeless loser with no talent and would never be somebody. Sasuke still could not believe the Naruto words. He was so powerful and amazing. How could this be true? But Naruto's eyes, lost in sad memories, left no doubt. His father was telling the truth. For a moment, Sasuke wondered where he was at that time when Naruto was at the academy and, with a strange uneasiness in his stomach, he asked himself whether he would have been part of people who had laughed and insulted his Tuchan. No. I would never laugh at Tuchan, thought the boy with love and loyalty for his father. Instinctively, he wanted to be at the academy at the time and tell everyone that his dad would become the best shinobi in the world and make them eat what they said. When people laugh at us and call us names, we feel horrible and low. Sasuke remembered when the adults in Hankagai had told their children not to play with him anymore, or the laughter of ridicule from the men in the deck. Tuchan? How did you become so strong? Sasuke asked. The sadness in the Naruto's eyes disappeared. When the blonde turned to stare at Sasuke, he was smiling warmly. Well, there was this other boy in my class who was good at everything, he said. He was a genius, super talented, very cool and popular. So I thought if I defeated him that would make me as popular as him. Sasuke felt a chill on his back as if someone had touched him with a cold hand. And did you beat him? Ah, no. Not even close. In our first spar, he defeated me in a second. Man, I hated that guy, Naruto continued. It was so strange to be talking to Sasuke about himself. Even if the Raven didn't remember the fights they had as children, the blonde was almost expecting to see the little Raven frowning and look at him with his typical arrogant and annoyed glare. He was so perfect in every way: ninjutsu, taijutsu, genjutsu, throwing shuriken and kunai, everything. I tried to beat him thousands of times, but he was always the best and won. For him, I was just a dropout with no talent who was not even worthy of his attention. He was the genius of our generation, with the highest marks, while I was the failure with the lowest grades. So I decided that he was my rival and I wouldn't give up until I defeat him and make him recognize me as an equal. Sasuke blinked. That was exactly what he wanted, to become strong and be recognized as Naruto's equal. He understood his father's feelings towards that genius boy, which, strangely, made him feel closer to his daddy and happier. But you're stronger than him now, right, Tuchan? The little Raven asked, smiling proudly. You beat him, right? Naruto tried to smile. Yes. I finally beat him, the blonde said, trying to hide the sadness behind his smile. I beat you, but you never acknowledged me. I knew it. I knew you could do it, Sasuke exclaimed, excited and clinging to Naruto's shirt. You're so strong, Daddy. Naruto widened his eyes and stared at the smiling child in his arms. In the end, he was wrong. Naruto had been so focused in the past that he hadn't seen what had happened right in front of his eyes. Sasuke had already acknowledged him for a long time. After 2.5 hours of training, Naruto dragged Sasuke to the tub and they both took a long bath. After dressing and eating lunch, they heard the ship's horn. Jumping from his seat, Sasuke ran to the nearest window. Land! He shouted. I can see the islands. When Naruto approached him, Sasuke shifted to let him see. The archipelago emerged in the blue ocean as small emerald green pads. Yeah, the blonde said with a smile. Finally, we're here. Altogether, the archipelago was 20 islands. Some were so small that only had room to build a single house, while others had several villages. The main island was the largest of all and stood in the middle with its mountains and an old and active volcano. Multiple torii, painted red, rose of the sea around the island, protecting it from the evil spirits from abroad. As the boat docked at the port of the main island, Sasuke watched with curiosity the big ships that were docked and departed into the ocean and other islands. The Raven was even more amazed at the thousands of small boats that were literally clogging the port. He was even more surprised when he saw a group of kids, not much older than he was, going out in these boats towards a small island. When the ship docked and they were finally allowed to leave, Naruto looked from one side to another, not knowing where to go. Sasuke walked away from his father to watch the boats closer, marveling at the different colors of the candles and the sailors, fishermen and even children and young people, while jumping from boat to boat, doing their daily tasks. When the young Raven looked behind him, he saw that the city had been built from the beach, climbing up the slope of the volcano. The houses near the sea were small and simple, mostly belonged to the fishermen and merchants who relied on the ocean to survive and feed their families. The houses on the mountain were larger and more imposing. They probably belonged to rich families. Sasuke, Naruto called. Come on! We have to look for the leader that Tsunade Bachan told us. Okay, the boy replied, running towards Naruto and holding his hand. The blonde ninja looked around and noticed a middle-aged man who was coordinating the unloading of a small fishing boat. Deciding it would be best to ask for directions instead of walking around the island lost, Naruto went to the man. Be careful with that fish, the man shouted to the fisherman. Every fish that falls to the ground will be deducted from your wages. Come on! Strength in those legs. My grandmother, God rest her, had more steam than all of you. Sorry? Aji-chan? Naruto asked, not even a little intimidated by the fisherman's appearance or attitude. What do you want, kid? The man asked brusquely. He had more to do than talk to tourists. If you want a boat trip, you are talking to the wrong person. The tour boats are on the other side of the marina. This is a fishing boat. Naruto frowned. I know what a fishing boat is, the blonde said. I don't want a trip. I'm looking for someone. There are many people in this port. Who do you want to find? The fisherman asked, staring at the handsome young man in front of him. He knew the type, young, pampered and self-centered, that had no idea what was working hard to earn their living. He bet if he threw him a fish, he'd run away so it wouldn't stain his clothes. Naruto Dano? A voice called. The fisherman and all his men were flabbergasted when they saw the Unmei leader in person at the port, just in front of their humble boat. Shigeru-sama! The man shouted, throwing himself to the ground in a bow. Naruto looked surprised before turning to the man who was walking towards him, accompanied by 2 guards. Are you Shigeru-san? Naruto asked casually, ignoring the stares of the kneeling men and women, bewildered by his impertinence. Shigeru approached the young ninja. He was wearing a black robe with the symbol of Sanada, 2 horizontal rows of 3 rings on each shoulder. Underneath the robe, wearing a white shirt and simple pants. My name is Sanada Shigeru, he said, bowing his head in a bow. On behalf of Unmei and the Sanada clan, I welcome you to our islands. Realizing the importance of man, Naruto blushed and awkwardly returned the bow, casting a sideways glance to Sasuke for the latter to imitate him. Thank you? Shigeru-san. Thanks for having us in your islands, the blonde shinobi said, mentally kicking himself for not having learned how to be more proper. He sounded like a bumbling kid. After bowing, Shigeru and Naruto stared at each other. It's an honor to have you here, the samurai said. As it is a great pleasure to finally meet the hero of the 4th Shinobi World War. I heard of your remarkable accomplishments, and I would appreciate if I could talk with you whenever possible. Thanks, Naruto said. You are very kind. In fact, I didn't fight the war alone. All my companions participated with the same fervor. In addition to strong, you are also modest, said Shigeru. We will continue this conversation while walking. I want to take you to your residence. Sasuke had a kind of glimpse of a man much taller than he, with dark brown hair and dark eyes. His expression was serious and authoritative, as if conscious of his status as leader. It was the same expression on Shigeru's face, a man born to rule his land and his clan. With some dismay, Sasuke realized he had thought of Fugaku. Shigeru reminded him of him somehow. Naruto went through the city streets with Shigeru, listening intently as the samurai explained how the port and the market worked, talking about shops and merchants who knew him personally. People on the street all bowed down to him. It wasn't hard to see that Shigeru was much loved by his people. It was impressive. The man seemed to know everyone, from other samurai to the fishermen's children. The warrior class lived in the higher houses, Shigeru explained. Some houses belonged to different samurai clans, where whole families lived like a small village. Other samurai lived in their own homes, with or without their wives and children. It was in this area that Naruto and Sasuke would live. Naruto had to control himself not to scream in awe. The house was huge. It had several bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, one with a tub as big as a small pool, 2 living rooms, a spacious kitchen, a garden with stairs that led down to a lake and a waterfall, and their own private dojo. Both Naruto or Sasuke were flabbergasted. None of them was accustomed to such luxury. "We meet tomorrow at my house," Shigeru said, preparing to leave. "I hope this house is to your liking." Naruto thanked him again, and the samurai left. As usual, Naruto summoned several frogs that brought him the bags he had left on Mount Myoboku. Sasuke ran through the house, admiring each division with amazement. They even had food in the kitchen and everything. "Sasuke, pick a room, son," Naruto said. "Huh? Go pick one or I'll choose the best one myself." The rooms were upstairs, so Sasuke had to climb the wooden stairs. The boy went into all the rooms, which were nearly the same, with a double bed, a large wardrobe, and 2 bedside tables. Eventually, he chose the room that was facing the rest of the city and the ocean, so he could see almost the entire island. That was an awesome view. Brimming with childlike enthusiasm, the Raven told Naruto what room he had chosen and ran off to explore the large garden and the lake at the bottom of a long staircase. Behind the lake, there was also a forest that Sasuke wanted to see. He was about to enter the woods, when he remembered that his daddy had to unpack their things all alone while he was playing. Running, the little raven came home and found Naruto in his new bedroom, placing Sasuke's clothes in the wardrobe's drawers. "Hey," the blonde greeted. "Have you seen the whole house already?" Sasuke nodded and knelt down next to Naruto, taking several shirts from his bag. "I want to help," the boy said, opening another drawer. "Thank you, Sasuke, but you don't have to," Naruto said. "You can go play. I'll do it." But Sasuke shook his head. "I want to help you, Too-chan," he insisted, staring at Naruto with his bright onyx eyes. "If the two of us do it, we'll finish it a lot faster, right?" Naruto blinked, surprised at Sasuke's sudden maturity, but he just smiled and nodded. Of course he could use his clones and finish unpacking alone in a few minutes, but he preferred his son's help. "Okay. Let's finish this together." As Sasuke said, it didn't take long to unpack everything. The boy moved quickly, helping Naruto put everything in its place. If one needed help, the other came immediately, as if he knew. When Naruto finished placing the towels in the bathrooms, Sasuke brought his bag of toiletries. No words were needed, both seemed to know what the other was going to do without saying a word. "Done!" Naruto exclaimed. "Thanks for the help, Sasuke." "You're welcome," the boy replied. "I'm impressed," Naruto said. "You could have gone play, but you came back to help your old man. You've really grown." "Of course. I'm not a little kid anymore, Daddy. I can help you out, you know?" Naruto smiled warmly and stroked Sasuke's black hair. "Yes, you do. We make a great team, you and me." Sasuke's eyes widened and he blushed, feeling his heart filled with happiness. At the same time, his stomach growled, apparently empty. "You're hungry, huh? How about some ice cream?" Naruto suggested. "After so much work, an ice cream came in handy, huh?" "Yeah." Walking slowly, the two went down to the market and bought a box of ice cream in the first store they found. When they returned home, they picked 2 ice creams, stored the box in the freezer, and went down to the lake to eat, sitting on the shore. The sun shone through the foliage of the trees surrounding the lake, and the wind loosened several leaves from the branches and they floated through the air or landed on the smooth surface of the water. As they ate the ice cream, neither Naruto nor Sasuke said a word, enjoying the silence, the cool wind, and each other's company. Sasuke felt really happy. His dad had said that they were a team. This meant that Naruto recognized him as a worthy person. Perhaps it wasn't so strange that Sasuke felt that his daddy was also his friend. No. There was more than that. His dad was not his friend, he was his best friend. "HM? Why are you laughing, Sasuke?" asked Naruto. "Did you remember something funny?" "Huh? No. I was just thinking it will be cool to start school tomorrow," Sasuke said. "That way, I'll catch up and be as strong as you, Too-chan." "You're right," the blonde replied with a kind smile. "You're definitely getting stronger, day after day. It won't take long until you reach me, though I have no intentions of letting you catch me so easily." Tomorrow after school, we'll make a traditional shinobi sparring. That'll be fun. Traditional shinobi sparring? What is it? It's a spar between two ninjas from the same village, Naruto explained. We used to do it a lot when I was in the academy. It helps to strengthen our body. What's the difference between that and a normal spar? Naruto turned to his son and placed his fingers. Well, this kind of spar we are fighting someone of our own village, not an enemy. So we have to put our fingers in this position before starting the fight. Naruto made half the tiger seal with his right hand. This is the seal of confrontation. Sasuke imitated Naruto, staring at his hand. Seal of confrontation? That's right, said the blonde. Basically, it means I've come to face you in battle. When the fight ends, both combatants must entwine the fingers they used to make the seal of confrontation. This seal is called the seal of reconciliation. To Naruto's surprise, Sasuke laced his fingers with his immediately. Although the raven's fingers were much smaller than the blonde's, Naruto felt a pleasurable feeling of nostalgia. He wasn't prepared for this. He and Sasuke had never done this seal before, even when Iruka forced them. Naruto thought maybe they had done it when they clashed in the Valley of the End. But in the end that had only been either an illusion or a dream he had. But this time it was no dream. This was real. Is this how you do it? Sasuke asked, staring at him intently. Yes. It's exactly like that, said Naruto. Seeing his father smiling and their hands like that, Sasuke felt something warm on his chest. He didn't understand why, but it felt good. What does this seal mean, Tuchan? It means that we recognize each other as comrades. Comrades, Sasuke thought. There was something in that word that made him feel happy and comfortable. Then, he remembered that his dad had fought against his rival at the academy. Did they also make the seal of reconciliation? Tuchan? You sparred against that genius kid in the academy, right? Naruto was surprised that Sasuke had brought that up so suddenly, but it was alright. Telling him about the person that Sasuke had been in the past didn't bother him anymore. In fact, it made him feel even closer to Sasuke. When Naruto decided to tell his son the whole truth about his past, he wanted Sasuke to know that they had good times together before everything went wrong. Naruto wanted to Sasuke know they had a strong bond, even before the adoption. Becoming a father and son had only strengthened that bond. Yes. I fought him hundreds of times, but he always won, Naruto said, scratching his neck. It was embarrassing. But you beat him in the end, Sasuke said. I bet he must feel like a real loser now. He deserves it. Naruto widened his blue eyes. No, Sasuke. He's not a loser, Naruto hastened to say. He didn't want Sasuke to insult himself. He had to make him understand that he had been a great comrade and friend, not an arrogant bastard who had the fate he deserved. I always wanted to beat him to prove him that we were both great shinobi. I never wanted to humiliate him or punish him. The boy stared at his father with confusion etched on his face. But you said he thought you were a loser. You said you hated him. Naruto stared at Sasuke in the eye. Actually, he was the person I admired most, Naruto confessed with a little smile. He was my idol, my inspiration. I wanted to talk to him. I wanted us to be friends. But it wasn't that simple, because he was so perfect in everything and I wasn't. That's why I turned him into my rival and I became convinced that I hated him. I couldn't believe when they said we were on the same team. That we were going to be teammates. Naruto looked at the trees around the lake. Beside him, Sasuke was very quiet. His young mind was still trying to understand what his father had told him. Teammates? He is one of Tuchan's teammates? The Raven thought, feeling a strong and mysterious sting of jealousy in his heart. That arrogant boy who told him he was a loser is one of his precious comrades. Oblivious about the tumultuous feelings in his son's heart, Naruto continued. At first, nothing had changed even though we were on the same team. He continued to be the elite while I was at the bottom. But the more time we spent together, the closer we became. It was fun to be with him. Without even noticing, we became friends. It is a very special bond. Sasuke lowered his head, with his heart broken. All this time he had tried to fight for a place in his father's heart, which had always been taken. After dinner, Naruto told Sasuke to go to bed because they both had to get up early in the morning. Sasuke immediately obeyed, climbing the stairs in silence. Naruto had thought it was strange that Sasuke was so quiet at dinner, but he deduced that the raven was just tired from the travel and unpacking their bags, or perhaps he was nervous about having to go to a new school the next day. After washing his teeth and face, Sasuke went to his new room and put on his pajamas. However, instead of lying in bed, he opened the window and sat on the porch, watching the sea, the moon and the starry sky above him. He felt so stupid. How did he actually believe he could be Naruto's best friend? Sasuke was just a little kid, he could not even compare to his father's rival. The raven knew that Daddy loved him, and Sasuke loved him a lot too. He was the best dad in the world. But, strangely, that was not enough. Sasuke felt that his place had been taken by this man, who Sasuke came to associate with the image of the boy in blue. Despite what he said, did Naruto really want to be there with Sasuke instead of going on missions with his teammates? Or had he said that so Sasuke wouldn't feel guilty? And the rival, was he in Konoha right now? Was he looking forward that Naruto came back to the village so they could be a team again without the presence of his snotty son? Lit only by the moonlight, Sasuke clenched his fists. He would not let that happen. He would train hard and become a shinobi so strong that his daddy would end up forgetting his rival and acknowledge his son as an equal shinobi. He would acknowledge him as his best friend. Chapter 45, Darkness and Light. Hi! I wanted to warn you that I slightly changed some of the chapters to fit spoilers Itachi's wishes from chapter 549 of the manga. So the rebirth jutsu is the second power Itachi gave Naruto just in case he definitely couldn't save Sasuke without killing him, and no one knows about the Uchiha's coup attempt except Naruto, Kakashi, Yamato, and Tsunade. Naruto asked for Itachi and Shursui's names to be carved in the memorial stone. Well, good reading. Darkness and Light. Yami to Hikari. Everyone called it the Children's Island. For generations, the Samidare Island had been the refuge of the Unmei children. The place banned from adults, and the young people's paradise. The island was the smallest of the archipelago, and was near the main island. The soil was so fertile that the trees were all huge, rising from the ground and weaving into each other with their huge branches. Someone, probably a group of young people who grew old and had already died long ago, built several tree houses, bound to each other by many stairs, bridges and strings. The wood from the houses had been removed and replaced thousands of times, so nobody knew where the old and the new started or ended. The only unchanging things in the island were the caves carved by the sea. As soon as they started to walk, the kids wanted to go to the Children's Island. When they were too small to go on their own, parents or older children had to take them there in a boat. It was a huge event when a kid got his own boat to go to the island alone. The samurai's children also had boats, but most gave up using them when learned how to walk on water. That night, after dinner, a group of 4 boys left their homes secretly and met on the docks, where they had their wooden boats. Everyone knew that if they were caught on the Children's Island in the middle of the night, they'd be grounded for weeks, get a good spanking and a lecture on the dangers of going to the sea without telling anyone. However, if the boys were scared, none showed it. They all chuckled as they leaped to their boats and rowed toward the island. As in all the islands, the Children's Island had a legend. They said that, many years ago, before Unmei was even inhabited, an old king had traveled across the ocean in search of riches. His boat had been so heavy with gold and jewels that had stranded on the Children's Island. When the sailors told him they had to leave the treasure on the island if they wanted to leave, the king became mad and killed them all, convinced that they wanted to steal the treasure from him. Crazy because of the sun and hungry, the king raved and saw his enemies coming to steal the treasure. Therefore, the mad king hid his treasure in the caves of the island, in a place where nobody would find him, and became its guardian. Some people said that the king had died and his ghost still haunted the island, protecting his treasure for eternity. Others said that the king had become a monster or a dragon, and if anyone dared to seek his treasure, they would be devoured by him. When they reached the island, the boys took the shovels and bags from their boats, and moved slowly towards the caves. All the kids said they would find the king's treasure someday and be filthy rich, but nobody had been able to find anything except rocks in the caves. The older boys made fun of the younger ones, saying they had no courage to go search for the treasure at night when no one was watching and they could hear the screams of the mad king echoing through the caves. But tonight, they would find the treasure and keep it all to themselves. When they were rich and famous, the older boys would swallow what they said. 2 hours later, Akio, one of the kids, began to feel tired and, although he wouldn't admit it, scared too. It was very late, very dark and foggy. What if they couldn't see their way home and get lost at sea? Guys? Akio groaned, touching his necklace with the red lucky charm that his grandmother had given him. We've been here for hours. What if go home now? We can't find anything. Huh? Want to give up, Akio? Another boy said. I knew we shouldn't have brought you. You're a sissy. I'm not a sissy, Akio shouted, blushing. You're almost pissing your pants with fear, that's why you want to leave. If you're so scared, go back to your boat and go home to your mommy. We don't need a coward to split the treasure. I'm not afraid, Akio yelled, grabbing at his shovel and running deeper into the cave. You'll see. I find the treasure first. Furious and embarrassed, Akio continued to run up until he couldn't listen his friends' voices and started digging with his shovel. When the shovel got stuck, the boy tried to release it, pushing and kicking the wall. Come on! Let go! Stupid shovel! Damn stupid! The crack opened and the entire wall of the cave collapsed. Frightened, Akio jumped back and screamed, convinced that the cave was going to fall down on him. To his amazement, only the wall had fallen and strange light shone through the rocks. Akio stood up and pulled the rocks from his path. Behind the wall that had collapsed, the boy saw a magnificent room filled with ancient writing on the floor and walls. In the center of the room, glowing with a beautiful violet light, a huge crystal was wrapped with metal chains. But what most fascinated Akio was the sword stuck inside it. The sword was magnificent, like those legendary swords that he had heard in the stories. Magic swords that could make any man an invincible warrior. Akio entered the room and walked toward the sword and the crystal, like a moth drawn to a flame, his earlier fear of ghosts forgotten. When his little hands touched the crystal, the light became stronger and an aura surrounded him. Ah, the boy cried, finally feeling scared. What is this? Guys! Help! I found. The fear expression in Akio's face disappeared and the crystal stopped shining. Akio, the other 3 boys cried, open-mouthed as they entered the room. Akio, you found it! You found the treasure room! What is that? A sword? How did you find this place? Akio stood still and silent, his back to his friends. Akio? Slowly, Akio turned around. When he finally looked at the other boys, his eyes shone with a violet light and he smirked. Sasuke wasn't afraid to have to go to a new school. He was used to being the new kid ever since kindergarten. Still, the Raven felt a little uneasy. All this time, he had studied with civilians. This was the first time he would learn with warriors. Naruto had come with him, not only to find out where the school was but also because he wanted to accompany his child on that special day. Sasuke pretended to be reluctant and told him he was old enough to go alone. However, as soon as they left home, Naruto felt Sasuke's little fingers wrapped around his, clutching them tightly. Sasuke's first day of school recalled Naruto of the first time he had left the boy in the kindergarten. Sasuke was little more than a baby and had never been separated from Naruto more than a few minutes. When Naruto landed Sasuke on the floor, the boy immediately hid behind his father's legs, trying to hide from the kindergarten teacher who was kneeling on the floor to greet him. Hi, Sasuke-chan, the lady said with a friendly smile. My name is Izumi. I'll be your sensei. I'm very happy to meet you. Don't you want to come inside? Sasuke peered through Naruto's legs and saw a room full of toys and other children playing. Despite being curious, the child stayed where he was. Come on, Sasuke, Naruto said. I told you. Today you have to stay with Izumi-sensei because I go to work. Look! So many little boys and girls. Wouldn't it be fun to play with them? And can you see? They have a lot of toys. Sasuke became more curious and moved away a few meters from Naruto to peek through the classroom's door. Papa! Look! Toys, the toddler cried with a smile. Yes, they're toys, Naruto said. Go play. Izumi opened the door wider and Sasuke timidly entered the room. Some of the other kids looked at him but quickly focused on their toys. Sasuke looked back, making sure that Naruto was still close, and picked up various toys that were scattered on the floor. A few seconds later, he sat down and started playing. Naruto told himself to leave, but a part of him didn't want to go. How could he just leave his baby behind? He'll be fine, Izumi said, as if guessing Naruto's thoughts. You can rest assured, Uzumaki-san. Yeah, I know, Naruto said, approaching the little boy. Sasuke? The little raven looked at Naruto and smiled at him, convinced that his daddy had changed his mind and was going to play with him. Sasuke didn't mind staying there, as long as his papa stayed too. Papa, take, he said, handing Naruto a teddy bear. Play. Now I can't, son, Naruto said calmly, putting the teddy on the floor. I have to go to work, but you can play with Izumi-sensei and the other kids. Sasuke shook his head stubbornly. No! Play, Papa! With a heavy heart, Naruto hugged his son tenderly. The blonde had never felt like this in his entire life. It was like being separated from Sasuke was physically painful. After all, he was still so small. What if something happened to him? Daddy is coming for you soon, Naruto said, looking at the toddler's onyx eyes. Goodbye. Unwilling, Naruto let go of Sasuke, walked away and left the room. Papa? Papa! The raven cried as he saw his father leave without him. Papa! Papa! Terrified, Sasuke dropped the toys, got up and ran to the classroom door. Thick tears streamed down his red cheeks. Your daddy will be right back, Sasuke-chan, Izumi said, trying to calm down the crying child who tried to reach the doorknob in vain. Naruto continued to walk the halls, resisting the powerful urge to turn back. The blonde knew that if he did, would never be able to leave his baby boy again. Over time, Sasuke became familiar with the kindergarten and being separated from his father for a few hours. Mainly because Naruto had assured him that whatever happened, Daddy would always come back to take him home. Almost 4 years later, Sasuke didn't cry in fear of going to school anymore. Naruto's baby had grown up and their separation was inevitable. For Naruto, these thoughts were painful. Perhaps it was because he had wished to create a bond with Sasuke ever since childhood, or perhaps for having chased him for 4 years, or even because he had become his precious son. The blonde shinobi wanted Sasuke to enjoy his company, and still need him, though it was very selfish. But Sasuke's life was his alone, and the raven would be the one to make his decisions and find his own way. If we love someone, we should let them go, right? People on the street, used to familiar faces, gazed at them with interest. Several girls blushed when they saw Naruto and whispered with her friends, giggling nervously. Other samurai were surprised and excited when they saw the Hittite in the blonde's forehead, recognizing him as the famous ninja hero who came to the islands. The school did not pass unnoticed. It was an old but robust building, with white painted walls, surrounded by gardens and training fields. As classes were about to start, many kids ran quickly to the main gates of the school. Surrounded by his future classmates, Sasuke blushed and dropped Naruto's hand abruptly. You don't need to go to school with me, Tuchan the Raven said. I can go alone from here. You can go now. Oh? But I wanted to talk to your teachers, Naruto said. I'd like to know them and… No! Sasuke said, even more embarrassed. He wasn't going to enter his new school with his father in tow like a scared little brat. All the other kids came alone. If they saw Naruto talking to the teachers, Sasuke would look like a total wimp. I can go alone. I don't need you to come. A little hurt, Naruto nodded. You're ashamed of me, huh? The blonde ninja said. Okay, you're right. You're already old enough to go alone, so… Naruto took something from his pocket and gave it to Sasuke. This is for you. Sasuke's dark eyes widened. In the palm of his right hand shone a silver key. A key? Is this our house key? Yes, Naruto replied with an encouraging smile. When your classes are over, you can go home even if I'm not there. The house key is a big responsibility, but I think you're ready for it. You're big boy now. Well, you better go if you don't want to be late to your first class. See you at home. Okay. Bye, Sasuke said, running through the gates until he reached the school's metal door. You're ashamed of me, huh? The raven stopped with his hand inches from the doorknob. When he looked back, he saw that Naruto was still in the same place, watching him from afar. The blonde smiled at him and waved goodbye to him before turning around and leaving. Sasuke walked away from the door and ran towards Naruto. Papa! Surprised, Naruto turned back as Sasuke jumped towards him and hugged him tightly, burying his face in his belly. Sasuke? Naruto muttered, confused by the sudden change in the child's attitude. I'm not ashamed of you, the boy said, still with his face leaning against his father's body. Can you come get me after school? Just for today. Tomorrow I can go alone. Naruto blinked before smiling warmly and landed a hand on his son's head. Of course. I'll be here to take you home. When Naruto arrived at Shigeru's huge mansion, he was greeted by an old lady with big green eyes and white hair and a pun on top of her head. In her right hand she held a broom. Yes? She asked. What do you want, boy? I came to talk to Shigeru-san. He told me to come here, so… The old lady looked at Naruto from top to bottom before her eyes settled on his Hittite. Are you the ninja from Konoha? She asked in astonishment. Ah, yes. My name is Uzumaki Naruto and… So don't just stand there, she said. Come inside. My son will be talking to you in a minute. Before Naruto could say anything, the old woman grabbed him by the arm and pulled him into the house with surprising strength for someone her age. As expected, the Sanada leader's home was even bigger than the house he lent to Naruto. There were ancient treasures, antiques, armors, swords, and old paintings everywhere. Sliding doors were decorated with drawings of samurai fighting or mythological animals such as the dragon, the phoenix, and the kirin. The old woman took Naruto to the living room and forced him to sit on a cushion beside a small table. The blonde tried talking to her, but she had disappeared through another door. In less than a minute, she had returned with a pot of tea and cakes. My son is attending a meeting, but he'll see you soon, the old woman said, pouring her tea with the elegance of a geisha. Your son? My name is Sanada Kiyomi, she said with a hoarse laugh. I am Shigeru's mother. Oh. Okay. Kiyomi-bachan, Naruto said, regretting it soon after. I mean, Kiyomi-san. Sanada-sama. Kiyomi burst out laughing. Kiyomi-bachan, that's new. Not even my grandson calls me that. It's actually endearing. Well, I'll be the Kiyomi-bachan for you, Naruto-chan. Naruto blushed when he heard her treating him like a little kid, but he guessed that was fair. If he was going to call her a grandma, she was entitled to treat him as a child. While drinking tea, Naruto looked around. Like the rest of the house, the living room was imposing, filled with antiques that were worth a fortune and tastefully decorated. However, caught the attention of the young shinobi weren't the old armors nor the golden daggers, but a picture just above the fireplace. Immediately, Naruto recognized Shigeru, although the latter was younger and was smiling. Beside him was a very beautiful woman with black hair and hazel eyes, and in their midst stood a boy with brown hair, smiling. Is that Shigeru-san's family? Naruto asked. Kiyomi looked at the picture with a sad gaze. Yes, they were my daughter-in-law and my eldest grandson, the old lady replied. They both died 8 years ago. Naruto blinked and stared at Kiyomi. I'm sorry. The winters are harsh on this island. Kiyomi refilled his cup of tea. Many people became ill with a new type of flu virus that had no cure. It was very fast. People got a fever and died in a few days. Unfortunately, my daughter-in-law, Mia, and my grandson, Hattori, succumbed to the disease. Naruto looked back at the family portrait. They seemed so happy together, and the boy Hattori, he shouldn't have been much younger than Sasuke. Shigeru-san must have been devastated, the blonde said, not wanting to think about how he would feel if he lost Sasuke like that. Yes, Kiyomi nodded, closing her eyes. My son could never get over his wife and son's deaths. Shigeru is still grieving. Naruto nodded slowly before remembering that Kiyomi said that Hattori was her eldest grandson. Do you have another grandchild? The blonde asked, to which Kiyomi nodded. Is he Shigeru-san's son as well? Yes. His name is Riku. Kiyomi's green eyes shone with pride when she spoke of her grandson. He turned 6 in the past January. I believe that he is your son's age, right? Naruto nodded. Yes. Sasuke turned 6 in July. This means that they will be classmates. I hope they'll get along. Me too. Would like to meet your son, Naruto-chan. I'll bring him here one day. Kiyomi-ba-chan. Naruto looked around, expecting to see a picture of Riku, but there was none. Your grandson. Riku, isn't there a picture of him? Kiyomi blinked and her eyes became suddenly sad and angry at the same time. No. We have several photos of Riku, but they are all stored in albums in my room. Huh? Kiyomi looked out the window, lost in thought. Riku isn't the Mia's son, she said. He was born 2 years after Mia and Hattori died. Oh, I see. Naruto muttered, still confused that Shigeru didn't have pictures of his second child around the house. So Shigeru-san married again, huh? Kiyomi shook her head. No. Riku's mother was one of the strongest warriors of the island, she said. She was as strong as Shigeru, thus they became rivals since they were children. Rivals? Her name was Rei. I always knew she loved Shigeru, but my son never realized her feelings. I guess he never thought of her as a woman either. Mia was very feminine while Rei had always been like one of the boys. The old lady lowered her head. When Mia Hattori and died, Shigeru lost the will to live. The only thing that held him to the living world was the duty to the clan. The only person that could wake him up was Rei when she asked him to fight her every day at our family's dojo. One thing led to another and, well, she ended up pregnant. Naruto felt his cheeks burning. Rei died a few days after giving birth and Shigeru brought Riku home, the old lady continued. My son would not run away from his responsibilities. Responsibilities? Asked Naruto. That sounded so cold. The sliding door opened and Shigeru came before them, slightly surprised to see Naruto drinking tea and chatting with his mother. I'm sorry I kept you waiting, Naruto Dano, the Sanada clan leader, said. It's okay. Naruto stammered, embarrassed to have had such a personal talk with the mother of the man who ruled the archipelago. Shigeru smiled at him and motioned for Naruto to follow him down the hall. It was just a formality. But Sasuke was taken to the school's doctor before being allowed to go to the classroom. The doctor was an old man, with huge glasses that made him look like an owl. He told Sasuke to sit in a chair and remove his dark blue shirt. After he checked his torso, the old doctor checked his vision and hearing and asked him if he had any health problems or allergies. I can't eat strawberries. My tongue swells like a balloon and I have to take a shot right away, the boy said, refusing to reveal to the man that he also got blisters all over his ass. The doctor nodded and wrote something on paper. A second later, a man entered the medical wing and looked at Sasuke. Are you Uzumaki Sasuke? Sasuke nodded. My name is Arai Tadao, he introduced himself. I am going to be your teacher. Come with me, I want to introduce you to the rest of the class. Sasuke gulped, but nodded and left the ward next to Tadao-sensei. The teacher placed a calloused hand on his shoulder and told Raven about school and about the subjects he was going to learn. The only subject that Sasuke would be excused was the Bushido class, the way of the samurai. Instead, Sasuke would learn ninjutsu with his father and Irika-sensei. To the boy's surprise, he learned that some teachers were ninjas who had come to live on Mii after they had retired or had moved there on their village's orders. Most had come to teach ninja techniques to the new generations of samurai. They had to learn them and how to fight against them. When they reached the classroom and Tadao opened the door, the students' murmurs silenced immediately. Sasuke felt all their eyes on him. The boys stared at the Raven with interest, wondering if he was as strong as his famous father. The girls were very happy with his appearance, chattering on how cute he was. Maybe just as cute as Riku. Meanwhile, The silver-haired boy stared at Sasuke with his blue eyes and smiled confidently. Interesting, Riku thought. Let's see what you are made of. Throughout the day, Sasuke was bombarded with questions by his new classmates. The kids wanted to know everything about the shinobi world and asked him many questions about Naruto and the war. The Raven answered some questions, but then made it clear that he wanted to concentrate in class. Several girls immediately became infatuated with him, describing him as the cute, serious, and cool type. An hour later, they were debating who was cuter, Riku or Sasuke. Sasuke quickly got to know who the famous Sanada Riku was, Shigeru's only son, heir to the clan and the future ruler of Unyai. He was the best student in school, who had defeated even his senpais, extremely talented, a genius like no other and super popular. Everyone seemed to adore Riku and worshipped him. Not only because he was elite and practically royalty, but they also admired him for his incredible skills. His cold and distant attitude made him even cooler in the eyes of his classmates. Riku didn't approach Sasuke, nor spoken to him. When the Raven and he exchanged glances during a lesson, Riku smiled at him arrogantly and quickly looked away. You bastard, Sasuke thought, pouting. Who the heck do you think you are? The last class in the afternoon was Kenjutsu. The students were taken to the school's dojo, and each received a wooden sword. The teacher was a bald old man, with a long white mustache and missing his left eye, who everyone respectfully called Masamune-sama due to his extensive experience with the sword. I know we have a new student among us, Masamune said, staring at Sasuke with his single eye. Come here, boy, I want to look at you. And bring your sword. Sasuke obeyed and stood up, listening to the worried whispers behind him. Masamune looked at him from top to bottom like the doctor had done before, staring deep into his dark eyes. Sasuke felt a strong desire to blink, but he didn't, keeping eye contact with that serious and powerful swordsman. Suddenly, Masamune attacked him with the sword, trying to hit him in the arm. Sasuke moved quickly and managed to block his attack, although the strength of man had nearly thrown him to the floor. The other kids gasped, very surprised. Only a few of them had managed to block Masamune's attacks. You have good reflexes, said Masamune. I wonder what your level is. After that, Masamune asked several students to fight against Sasuke to test him. Although they were interested in the ninja in training, all students wanted to defeat Sasuke. After all, he was going to be a ninja and, as future samurai, they were anxious to show him their superiority. The first fights were easy. Sasuke defeated 3 students in less than 2 minutes, whether pointing his sword to a vital point or disarming them. You have talent, boy, Masamune said impassively. Riku. Riku got up off the ground and calmly walked to the center of the dojo. Sasuke wiped a drop of sweat from his forehead and grabbed the wooden katana tighter. Riku had never been defeated. In fact, his fights never lasted more than 30 seconds. In position, Masamune yelled. Riku smiled and looked at Sasuke with a lack of interest. I will rip that smile right off your face, the Raven thought. Give up while you can, Riku whispered to Sasuke so softly that only he heard. Humph! Sasuke snorted. Ready? Masamune said, while both boys stared. Fight! The 2 wooden swords clashed against each other. Sasuke blinked, amazed with Riku's strength. He was almost as strong as Masamune. Is that all you got? The clan's heir said, with the same relaxed smile. My turn! Sasuke almost hit the floor when Riku attacked him consecutively and with impressive speed. The Raven had never met another kid that could fight this well. Sasuke could only block his attacks. He was too quick for the Raven to fight back. Feel this. Riku tried to point his sword against his throat, but Sasuke stepped back in time and finally attacked him. You talk too much, Sasuke said. Hey, you still don't get it. Sasuke saw an opening and tried to attack Riku's chest. However, the silver-haired boy was faster and hit the Raven's sword. Sasuke's black eyes widened in horror as his katana broke free from his hands and flew through the air, falling into a corner of the dojo. Riku wins! Masamune exclaimed, followed by a chorus of excited screams from the other students. Sasuke stared at Riku with a mixture of bewilderment and anger on his face. Nice try, Riku said, turning his back and leaving the ring with the dignity of a winner. Nice, Riku! One of the boys shouted. No one can beat Riku. He is the strongest. Riku-kun! You're so cool! Sasuke clenched his fists. Naruto was exhausted after leaving Shigeru's house. He never thought that it was so difficult to set up teams. He had to learn the skills of each warrior, ninja or samurai, know what skills were complementary, and if the team's members would get along. The blonde learned that joining warriors who hated or distrusted each other could be beneficial on a long mission, giving them time to deal with their differences, but it would be disastrous in a shorter mission because they could kill each other instead of their enemies. And it was all the responsibility of the ruler, for it was he who took the decisions. Being Hokage will be more complicated than I thought, Naruto thought as he walked towards the school. It takes so much thinking and planning at the same time. No wonder Tsunade-bachan is always so grumpy all the time. When Naruto arrived at the school's gate, he saw Sasuke leaning against a tree and a frightening expression on his face. The boy looked like he wanted to kill someone. Hi! Naruto greeted, trying to ignore Sasuke's very convincing, killing intent. What's going on? It looks like you swallowed a lemon. Sasuke glared at him, grabbed his backpack and left the school without saying a word. Worried, Naruto went after the sulky child, keeping, however, a certain distance. He had never seen his son so angry before. Sasuke, Naruto called, few meters behind the raven. What happened at school? Nothing. Sasuke muttered, continuing to walk. If you're upset, it's because something happened. Come on, tell me what's wrong. It was nothing. I don't want to talk about it. I want to go home. When they arrived home, Sasuke ran to the door, opened it with his new key and ran into the bedroom. Once he found the wooden katana Fukasaku had given him, the boy left home and ran to the garden. Sasuke felt his anger eating him away from within like a cancer. The only thing he could think about was how he had been defeated so easily, and how Rika had looked at him as if he was worthless and weak. Weak. I have to get stronger, Sasuke thought, beating his katana furiously against the trunk of a tree. If I can't even beat that asshole, I'll never be a ninja. Power. I need power. Naruto watched Sasuke train with wooden katana. The raven was seething and also seemed humiliated. Did someone tease him at school? Or maybe he had been beaten by another student. Naruto recognized the look of pure hatred and frustration in his son's black eyes. And he didn't like it at all. Sasuke? Are you okay? Sasuke continued to train, without even looking at him. I'm training, the boy said harshly. Leave me alone. I want to know what happened in school today, Naruto insisted. Why are you so angry? What happened? Nothing, I told you. Now let me train. Talk to me, Sasuke. Tell me why you're so upset. Naruto approached him. Tell me, were you beaten by someone? Something inside of Sasuke exploded like a hidden bomb. It was as if the anger and shame he felt had multiplied by 1,000 when he heard Naruto say those words. What the hell do you know about it? The raven roared with such rage that Naruto was taken aback. You know nothing. Nothing. How can you understand? I know what it is like to be defeated. I know how you feel. Shut up. You don't know anything, you idiot. Sasuke growled, unconsciously activating his Sharingan. At that moment Sasuke forgot he was talking to his dad. He forgot all the good times they had spent together. Nothing else mattered. He looked at Naruto as if he were an enemy to kill, dumping on him all his feelings of humiliation and failure. The words that came out of Sasuke's mouth came from a very dark place in his heart. You think you know how I feel just because you were a loser at the academy? But you don't know. So go away and leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. I don't need you. So get lost, you hopeless dope. The smack echoed through the garden, completely silencing Sasuke. The raven touched his cheek, which began to turn red. Naruto still had his hand raised in the air, staring at him with a cold, angry and hurt gaze. It was like the vengeful Sasuke was back with all his anger and hatred. It was as if everything Naruto had done for Sasuke over those last 6 years had been for nothing. Very well, Naruto said, trying to control the anger and sadness in his voice. If you want me to go away, that's what I'll do. Train as much as you want. Naruto jumped onto the roof and disappeared in seconds. Sasuke dropped the katana, which fell to the ground with a thud. For a moment, the boy could not even think straight. What had just happened? What has gotten into him? It was as if all that had passed since he was beaten by Rika had been some sort of weird nightmare. Like he couldn't see anything but anger. Sasuke had felt so angry, so ashamed. He just wanted to feel good about himself again. He didn't want to feel like a loser, he just wanted to be strong to be able to defeat Riku. When Tuchan had spoken to him, Sasuke just felt worse. A part of Sasuke, a dark and ugly part that even he didn't recognize, wanted Naruto to suffer. He wanted to hurt him and put him down, and he felt pleasure in it. That's why he had said all those horrible things. It was as if he wasn't the one talking, but someone else. Someone bad, bitter, and cruel. Oh no. No. Sasuke groaned, feeling the tears rolling down his red cheeks. What did I do? Why did I say that? Sasuke's Sharingan disappeared and the raven stared at the floor, seeing his tears fall one by one on the dry land. The words he had said he still echoed in his head. He had called his own dad an idiot and a loser. I called him Dobes, Sasuke thought, grief-stricken with dismay and remorse. Why? Why did I call him that? What am I? The raven fell on his knees, feeling his cheek throbbing painfully. His Tuchan had never slapped him before, ever. He looked so angry at Sasuke when he left. As if he hated him. The boy sniffed twice, wiped his tears with the back of his hand, grabbed the katana and went home. He didn't want to train anymore, no longer interested to be strong to defeat Riku. All he wanted was to erase what he had done and said to Daddy. He just wished that nothing had ever happened. So Sasuke put the katana in his room again and sat on the doorstep, waiting for Naruto to return so he could apologize. Hours went by, slow and painful. Sasuke just left the doorstep to go to the bathroom and eat a cup of instant ramen heated in the microwave. However, 3 hours later, his father hadn't returned home. Scary thoughts crossed through Sasuke's mind. What if Sasuke had gone way too far? What if Naruto was so angry that he never wanted to see him again? What if he had gone and left Sasuke alone on the islands? Daddy, the boy whimpered, his heart torn with regret. When the sun went down, Sasuke was too worried to sit at home waiting. The boy closed the door with the key and left the property, venturing into the almost deserted streets to find Naruto. Hey! Boy! Don't you think you should sleep in a bed? This table is not very comfortable. Naruto awoke to someone shaking his shoulders. Slowly, the blonde opened his heavy eyes and saw 2 small cups of sake in front of him, and the employee of the bar where he had entered. Oh shit, the young ninja muttered, rubbing his eyes, and stood up from his chair. When he looked out the window he saw that it was night. Damn! How long have I been out? I would say almost 5 hours, the man replied, taking the cups of sake. It's almost 10 o'clock. Naruto could not believe it. He had only drunk 2 small glasses of sake and had fallen asleep on the table as if he had drunk a sleeping pill instead. Why the hell did he have so little tolerance for alcohol? Ashamed, Naruto paid his bill and left the bar towards the dark and deserted streets near the harbor. He had to go home as soon as possible. How could he have left Sasuke alone for 5 hours? Sighing and with an irritating headache, Naruto rubbed his forehead. He had been so angry and hurt by Sasuke's words that he just had to back off to organize his thoughts before he said or did anything drastic. Sasuke had scared him. For a moment, Naruto thought he was in the presence of the Sasuke who he fought against in the Valley of the End, under the bridge in the Land of Iron, in war and in that burning village. His expression was exactly the same, full of hatred, contempt, and anger. It was as if adopting Sasuke, raising him, feeding him, dressing him and loving him wasn't important at all. Nothing had changed. Despite all that Naruto had done, no matter how much he loved him, Sasuke still had all that darkness within his heart. I failed, the blonde thought, listening to the sea waves in the distance. It seems I can't save Sasuke no matter how hard I try. Naruto didn't know what to do when he got home and had to face Sasuke again. How would he be now? Grumpy? Angry? Or just indifferent? What should Naruto do? He had slapped him. Should he be sorry to have lost his mind or stand firm and punish the kid? Naruto had no idea how to act. I am a worthless parent, huh, Itachi? The blonde shinobi was about to jump onto the nearest roof when he heard two voices arguing near the boats at the marina. Naruto would have ignored them if I had not recognized one of the voices. Please, sir. It's all the money I have. I said no, brat. How many times do I have to tell you to go away? I'm not going to take you on my boat. Then, I can work on the ship. I can pay for my ticket. No. Now beat it. Please. I have to go. It's important. I think my dad left in one of the other ships. I have to go after him. Listen, kid, I won't take you anywhere. My boat doesn't cross the ocean. But, you're the only captain in the port now. The child's voice was choked by sobs. Please. I'll do anything. I told you what I had to say, kid. Now go home. Naruto came up enough to see a man with a captain's uniform leave the docks as a boy fell on his knees and burst into tears, sobbing desperately. His little body shaking as he wept. Naruto was stunned. Sasuke actually thought he had left the islands on a ship and he had come after him. He had begged the man to take him to one of the boats, and was now on crying the dirt floor because he thought he had lost Naruto. Oh, team. Sasuke was crying so much that when Naruto approached him he didn't even notice. Son? Sasuke's body stopped shaking and he turned around, with his eyes brimming with tears. Tu-chan, the boy whimpered, getting up and running towards Naruto but stopping a few feet away from him, barely able to look him in the eye. I waited for you. I waited a long time, but you didn't come back. So I came looking for you. A tear ran down his crimson cheeks. I looked for you everywhere, but I couldn't find you. I thought you were gone. I thought you went into one of the boats and... Naruto said nothing but raised his arms. With his lips trembling, Sasuke jumped to his arms and hugged him, burying his face in Naruto's blonde hair. Daddy, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, the little boy moaned, while Naruto rocked him. I don't know why I said those mean things. I didn't want you to be sad or mad at me, I swear. I'm sorry, you can ground me. I'll glue my mouth with sticky tape. Naruto laughed and started walking towards the house. I think the tape is too much, Sasuke said the blonde. Instead of running or jumping from rooftop to rooftop, Naruto decided to slowly walk the streets with Sasuke in his arms in silence. They were almost home when the raven finally gained the courage to speak again. Papa? I don't think that you're a loser or a dope. I know, Naruto replied. Were you very angry with me? Well, I would be lying if I said no, Naruto confessed. You looked so mad at me. It was as if you hated me. Sasuke squeezed him tighter, feeling his eyes filled with tears again. I don't hate you, Daddy, the little boy said, crying with remorse again. I can't hate you, not even when I'm very, very angry. Naruto turned a corner and got into his garden. The smell of the camellias was in the air. Sasuke? HM? Would you really go after me on a ship? Of course I would. Wouldn't you be scared? Naruto asked, opening the front door with one hand and holding the child with the other. What if I was very far away? What if it was dangerous? I'd still go after you, Sasuke replied, unwavering. Even if it was dangerous, I would go after you and bring you home. No matter what happened, I'd definitely bring you back. Naruto opened his blue eyes in disbelief. With the same determination, Sasuke had said what Naruto had promised years ago. What if I were in danger or didn't want to come back? The blonde asked. What would you do? Sasuke thought for several seconds before answering. I would save you. I'd drag you home if I had to, even if I had to beat you. Naruto raised a blonde eyebrow. Are you saying that you would beat me up to bring me home? I'd bring you back home even if I had to break both your arms and legs. Unbelievably shaken, Naruto felt a tear running down his cheek. It was just too much. He had chased the raven for so long, and so desperately that he had never expected to hear him say he would do the same for him. Sasuke still had darkness hidden in his heart, but he also had plenty of light to face it. Maybe some of that light had come from Naruto. After dinner, Naruto washed up and went up to his room, where he stumbled upon Sasuke, half asleep, lying on his bed. "Hey! What are you doing here, son?" the blonde asked, lifting the sheets and lying next to the sleepy child who had been waiting for him. "You should be sleeping by now." "I wanted to talk to you," Sasuke said, approaching Naruto. "I wanted to tell you why I was so angry and mean this afternoon." Sasuke told his father everything about the Kenjutsu class and Riku, even the embarrassing details of his defeat. "I hate that bastard," the raven said, pouting. "He thinks he's so good. I wish he would sit on top of his own katana so it would go right up into his ass." Naruto smiled in the dark, glad Sasuke couldn't see his face. Man, the kid and such a mouth. "Sasuke, watch your tongue. Anyway, you didn't win the first round, but that does not mean you can't defeat him," the ninja said, speaking from experience. No wonder Sasuke had gotten so mad. "Nobody's invincible, Sasuke. That asshole looks so perfect. I don't know if I can beat him, it seems impossible." "Nobody's perfect. We all have some weakness. I'm sure that the secret to defeating Riku is in finding his weakness and, of course, training hard. He thinks he is so much better than me." "Let him think about what he wants," said Naruto. "Even if he thinks he's best, even if everyone says he's the best, you have to believe in yourself and not give in. One day, he will acknowledge you are strong." Sensing that his dad was thinking of his rival again, Sasuke hugged him tight and rested his head against his chest, trying to make him forget him. The more Naruto spoke of his teammate, the more Sasuke felt disturbed and threatened. He couldn't explain it, but he felt that his father and his teammate had very strong and special bond. Even though the rival appeared to be a real bastard, Naruto still liked him a lot. Why was that guy so special to him? What did he have that Sasuke didn't? "If you had to choose, who would you pick, Daddy? Me or him?" Sasuke thought, falling asleep to the sound of Naruto's heartbeats. "Who do you love more?" During that same night, while most of the islanders slept quietly, 6 children mysteriously disappeared from their beds in the fisherman's district. That's it for part 18. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.